Good morning. There are a few glitches this morning. So we are starting our first event of Naturopathic Medicine Week. Thank you so much for joining. Every other morning this week, it will be at 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. We're starting this one about 8:30 because this is when it happened. So Naturopathic Medicine Week is a national event where every province across Canada promotes naturopathic medicine to the public. Just letting everybody know what naturopathic medicine is, who your naturopathic doctors are. I am one of them in Nova Scotia. You can find out your local ND at our association website. That's NSAND, our Nova Scotia Association of Naturopathic Doctors. So nsand.ca. You can find someone either in your local area, or you can get a link to their own websites. Often there's a little bit of a blurb underneath each person letting you know what they do as a particular focus of their practice. So you can find all that information on the NSAND website, and that again is nsand.ca. We have for naturopathic medicine a number of events happening this week. This is the first one here on myths of meditation, and I'll guide you through a mindful practice as well. And we're going to be doing this again every morning. Typically it will be at 8 a.m. to 8:30. And we also have a pine pop workshop tonight that I'm actually running. We have a few other things this week. If you're really interested in mindfulness and meditation, another colleague of mine and I are doing a workshop about the mind-body connection and its power of healing on Wednesday night. You can see all of this stuff on the Nova Scotia Association Facebook group and get your tickets there, as well as on the NSAND website. They're all listed there. Our live event is on Tuesday at the Central Public Library, and there'll be a number of different NDs talking on various topics, and you'll get a chance to mingle and have some snacks with them and have an opportunity to maybe ask those burning questions about naturopathic medicine and meet some of your local naturopathic doctors. So we are going to get into our mindful myth of this morning. Again, thanks for joining me a little late this morning. So very often I've heard this through people that I've coached through mindful practices. A lot of my practice, I do a ton of mind-body work, probably one of the biggest focuses of my practice. I believe that we often will bring forth things within our lives because of our background, our history, our trauma. I say, using Gabor Mate's definition, which is really anything that we encounter where we feel like we are trying to struggle to make something different or change an outcome, and we're not necessarily able to. Can be a little bit more elaborate on that at another time in another conversation. But the idea that we are exposed to various incidences within our lives. Anything essentially could be a traumatic event, but I don't mean like going to a movie and seeing something that affects you and makes you sad or angry or whatever that is. But we carry all of these different things with us in our minds and in our bodies, and we actually create these reactionary cycles with everything that we carry because we cogitate it in our minds and start to congeal it essentially within our bodies. If you have questions, let me know. If you have questions, join us on Wednesday. I'll go into that a little bit more. I also elaborate much more on these in my meditation courses that I run. The next ones will be coming up later on this year, so you can always contact me if you're interested in mindful workshops or mindful courses or anything like that. So our first myth of meditation, I hear this so much from people, is that in order to be good at meditation, or in order to be doing it properly, we need to clear our mind of thought. Do you think this is true or false? And if you have experience meditating, how does that play out for you? In my experience, in everything that I have read and studied, it is extremely false. We don't really ever clear thoughts from our mind. One of the three main skills within meditation that we develop are concentration, equanimity, and clarity. Concentration first is the ability to actually choose what we are bringing our mind to focus on. And that's what we do when we're doing a mindful practice. This is why it exercises that muscle, because we have a particular focus of concentration. Our mind wanders and we bring it back. This action of bringing our mind back to whatever focus we're choosing is doing that muscle exercise. Every time you do a dumbbell curl, you exercise this muscle. Every time you bring your mind from a wandered place, you notice, you get that awareness, and you bring it back. That is the golden nugget of mindfulness. People often will think that they're not doing it properly if their mind is wandering, and that's actually every opportunity to do the exercise. People want to be good at it right away, and that's not really necessarily the case. Typically never. I've never seen anybody just be good at it. We want to do that exercise that brings our mind from somewhere else back into concentration on whatever that focus is. Equanimity is the second skill. This is the ability to be with something exactly as it is without wanting to change anything. That includes wanting something to be different, wanting something to feel better. Typically, we don't want something to feel worse, but sometimes, maybe not totally consciously. So if we can be with the exact experience that we're having without changing anything. And again, we practice this when we're doing a mindful activity, that we're practicing being okay with anything exactly as it's showing up right now. And then the third one is clarity. This one we don't necessarily put effort into so much as allow it to develop as we practice a mindfulness exercise. So as we are doing this clarity and the equanimity, or the concentration and the equanimity, clarity starts to develop between our three senses. We have feeling, which is anything that physically touches us, even feeling emotions on the inside. So any kind of body sensation. We have hearing, which would be any noise from the outside, as well as hearing our own thoughts or anything that's coming up within our minds. And we have seeing, which is anything seeing on the outside, as well as any imagery that we create in our own mental space. And these three senses essentially create all of our experiences. And as we meditate more, as we develop mindfulness and concentration and equanimity, we start to develop clarity between these three things. And it actually helps to separate them a little bit more so that we aren't overwhelmed by a full happening that's going on. We actually have pieces of it, and you can almost see them. You can see them more clearly, really. And it helps us then to have all of the fruit from meditation in our daily lives. If we can walk into a situation and see, oh, there's this and this and this, and I can see them all and I can choose from that, it's much easier to create a choice of behavior and thought action in that scenario than it would be if we were to walk in and everything seems chaotic and there's so much going on and like, which way do I turn? Well, that's actually the fruit that meditation and mindfulness brings us, is the ability to concentrate, which we practice and put effort into, the ability to equanimize everything in our experiences, which is allowing things to be exactly as they are without changing it. And this brings along clarity of our senses. When we meditate, our thoughts typically don't stop. So with these three things, we can choose what we are bringing our attention to. If a thought is going to continue to go on and on and on, we can choose to bring our mind to a different thought or to a different focus of concentration. So if I'm trying to do something at work or a hobby or whatever it is, and my mind's going all over the place and thinking about that thing and this thing and what that person did, and I'm blaming these people and whatever it is, we can catch ourselves in all of that and let it go. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to push it away. It can be there, but we turn our focus into that activity that we're doing, that we're trying to be able to do in a proficient manner. And this could still be here, but it affects us less. So in meditation, we're not actually trying to clear our mind. That's not where the effort is. The effort is in putting our concentration into this object of focus. So we allow these things to be here to whatever degree they're going to be, and we turn our focus and attention into that object of meditation. And then though those thoughts are still there, typically affect us less, which leads to less suffering. And we can get into the details and definitions of all of those things. And actually, we might on Wednesday. If not, we definitely do them in the courses that I teach. So with all of that said, let's practice some mindful meditation. So I'll have everybody, or if you are able to sit up, find a spot. Typically something that's a little bit more quiet helps to reduce distraction. If you're driving, you may want to keep your eyes open for this. We're just going to start by wiggling your spine a little bit back and forth. Kind of create some waves. You can do whatever motions you want to wiggle that spine and feel your body move. And then start wiggling the spine in smaller and smaller movements. Make those movements so small that you can hardly tell if you're moving, but you might be moving. You're not really sure. And in that position, try and see if you can stack your vertebrae one on top of each other so that it's actually your bones sort of holding you up instead of your muscles. It's a bit more of a relaxed way of sitting where there can be a little bit of flow, a little bit of movement, and your muscles aren't just strenuously tight, trying to hold you up straight. Again, you could be doing this sitting or standing. I'm going to start with a weather check-in. We always approach mindfulness with full curiosity. Let go of any judgments, and most importantly, let go of any preconceived notions. So pretend you have never checked in with your own emotions before. We have no idea what this is. We're just going to go in completely new and see what's there. We're actually going to look. So just turn in to bring your attention to your emotional space, to your mood. And see, how does it feel to be you right now? We're going to allow ourselves to be surprised, to learn new information. Always the stance that we take when we're meditating. What could possibly be there? Even if we think from 10 minutes ago, we know exactly what mood we're in because this and this happened. Let's just look. We're going to exercise this idea of allowing everything to be just as it is. So as you're looking, it might feel light and easy to be you. It might feel heavy and really difficult, maybe uncomfortable to be you right now. Just allow that to actually be a full experience. Don't try and push anything away and make something different. Just allow it to be exactly as it is in this moment. Allow everything to be exactly its full experience for the time that we have together. We're checked in with your mood, and check in now with your body. How is it to be in your physical meat suit today? Might work to do a scan, maybe from the top of your head down to your toes. And just check in with all your body parts. What kind of sensations are around there? Just a quick overall assessment of how is it to be in your own body today. Again, maybe something feels really good and loose. Maybe something feels achy and tight. Maybe it's a really dramatic and loud sensation that we might label as pain. Again, just allow everything to be exactly as it is, without trying to change anything, without wishing it to be different, without wanting it to be different, just being curious that it's actually there. What does this have to say or show you? Once you've had a good idea of what your check-in is, how it is to be you, your emotions and your body, bring your attention to your breath. Notice your inhale and notice your exhale. We breathe more than 22,000 times a day, and every breath is completely different. The air that we breathe is different. The exchange and the relationships with plants that take our CO2 and create oxygen. There's a whole magical, incredible cycle with the breath that we breathe in. And what can we notice about it in that particular moment as we're breathing in and breathing out? Anything. Could be the sense of the temperature of the air. Could be a movement within your body or a sensation that breathing brings. So let's explore all of these. As you breathe in, what is it that you notice? The movement of the air through your nostrils? Does it feel cool or warm on your throat? You feel your body move, your chest or your abdomen? Do you feel your clothes move against your body as you breathe? Maybe you feel one body part rub against another, your chest moves against your arms. We're just noticing anything, any aspect that comes up when we're attending to our breath. Maybe you notice the quality of your breath. Do they seem deep or shallow? Short or long? Slow or fast? And as we pay attention to every single breath, what do you notice about this breath? What do you notice now about this breath? Always keeping an open curiosity without assuming anything. Just because our last breath was like this, our next breath is new. It is completely different. What can we get curious about? What can we notice? And if your mind wanders, bring your concentration back to the rhythm of your breath. With love and kindness and a little bit of excitement for yourself that you noticed. There's awareness that your mind was wandering, and you're exercising that muscle of concentration to bring it back to the focus of our breath. That is one of the most exciting things that happens in meditation. That is the pathway where we create new neurology. We're developing that concentration. Will help to bring about clarity. And we help to practice equanimity as well. This breath gets to be exactly as it is. I'm not trying to change it. It doesn't need to be any faster or slower or deeper or more shallow. I'm just observing it exactly as it is and allowing it to be like that. You can continue to pay attention to sensations on the body that the breath brings, or you can pay attention to the breath itself. Can you notice that exact moment when your in-breath starts? And what happens through that in-breath? What changes do you notice? As your lungs get more and more full, there's change happening there. What can you feel with that? And when does that breath end? Can you notice that exact moment when your inhale stops? And what happens in that moment just between your inhale and your next exhale? There's often a little something there. And it happens sometimes so quickly, you have to be really paying attention to catch it. When your exhale starts, just see what you can see. See what you notice as that change happens from a full air of lungs to empty. What changes do you notice within the breath, within your body? And can you notice that exact moment that you stop exhaling? And what happens in that moment between your exhale and your next inhale? What does that full experience feel like in just that brief moment? Like we're taking a magnifying glass and trying to really understand what's there. With complete openness and curiosity, allow yourself to learn. What does your breath have to teach you? We do this with every breath as long as our attention can handle it. And when it no longer handles it, and we become aware that our mind is somewhere else, we bring it back, exercising that muscle and developing new neural pathways. Breathing in, breathing out, without changing anything. Again, we're paying attention to anything that shows up in association with our breath. Not looking for anything fancy. Just paying attention to these moments exactly as it is. As your mind wanders, just bring it back again. And when you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes and open your eyes. Stretch up, look around. It's often helpful to orient yourself to the space that you're in after having your eyes closed for some time. If something like a breath meditation is uncomfortable for you, maybe there's trauma or something around your breath, or maybe it just doesn't resonate as much. There's so many different approaches to mindfulness practices, and we'll explore a bunch of these over the week as well. So we'll be here every morning from 8 to 8:30. You can also catch the recording if for whatever reason you can't make it here. If you want to, again, be in touch for any of the events, please check out the NSAND Facebook page. You can get your tickets there for anything that you're interested in. Oh, and if you have any comments or questions, any myths that you'd like me to address over this week, please feel free to add them into any of the comments here below the video, and I will be sure to check them before tomorrow morning's meditation. There's so many questions that we go into, in all of these different areas, all these different opportunities with, courses and workshops and all that sort of thing. And there's so many out there. So if you're really interested in a mindfulness type practice, I really encourage you. It can be life-changing. Just find a person that resonates for you and where you might be able to do that practice with them and have your questions answered. But please feel free to, again, post anything below. I'm happy to address comments and questions, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for joining.